Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Snort, snort, snort.
Kogan. Drip.
Snort, snort.
I got the drip. Go.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, what I'd like to do now is talk a little bit about the year that was. All right, last year, 2024. What a year. Like, holy crap, what a year 2024 was, right? First off, year started off very uncertain. The reason I say that is because when on paper, when you were looking at 2024 as like a gaming year, you didn't know what was going to happen. You know, we had certain games that were lined up that looked like they could be great. Like for me, I remember when the year started, people were like, oh, what's the games you're most excited for? And I was like, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and what else? I think there's like 3 games. I think I said Elden Ring Shadows of the Erd Tree, or Shadow of the Erd Tree, right? Like that was my big 3 that I was mentioning I thought I was excited for. And then everything else was kind of an X factor. Like what would be good, what wouldn't be good, like no one really knew. When the year started, okay, it was very, very slow and uncertain. I remember in January, we had Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and I started playing it. And at first I really liked it, but then basically it didn't really catch on with the audience. A lot of people thought that it was too winded. You know, Yakuza games are very lengthy and dragged out. And being that it was a turn-based RPG, it didn't really catch on, and a lot of people were kind of burned out because I was also playing Baldur's Gate 3. So now playing 2 ginormously long, slow-paced, turn-based RPGs essentially was killing the audience, right? So I jumped into, I jumped into Tekken 8 because people wanted me to try a new fighting game, and I did. And I basically really enjoyed Tekken 8. The thing is, I had invested an insane amount of time in Street Fighter 6, and I played Tekken 8 for about a month and a half, and I got really good with Yoshimitsu. If you remember, my base characters I always use in Tekken are like Paul and King. I've always used those 2 in every Tekken game, and I was doing pretty good. But then I actually went to Yoshimitsu, and I actually really liked him. Albeit though, I don't think he was top tier, but I do feel like he was a strong, like, mid-tier character. Maybe I'm wrong because I'm not a Tekken competitive player or whatever, but I felt like he was decent, right? And I was having a good time with it. The graphics of the game were outstanding, right? My problem with the game, a couple issues. Issue number 1 was definitely some of the connections were very questionable. Okay, I remember the most part the connections were good, but then every once in a while you get that string of bad connections, or they look good, but then they're bad, and it could screw you over. But really my issue with the game was that game, when you hit a certain level, you immediately see the giant skill difference, right? Like it's like, first you're low and everyone's a button masher. Then you get mid and everyone knows some basic strategies around them. Then all of a sudden it's like there's this giant steeping climb up. And then it continues. So it's like for someone like me, who's just getting back into Tekken for the first time in many years at any kind of a competitive level, it was like, okay, I learned the basics. I learned the mid techniques. All right, time to learn the advanced stuff. Oh, fuck, I can't climb. I'm slipping. I can't get up this incredibly steep mountain, right? It was like it was greased. You're like clamoring to try to hold on. You're sliding down. And the truth is, if I had invested a lot more time into Tekken, like maybe if I had played it 3-4 times a week, 3-4 nights a week, I probably would have gotten really good at it. And I probably would have liked it even more, honestly. You know, I was getting good with June, and then Yoshimitsu was really picking up, and I was learning top-tier strategies and the like. But you get to the point where now it became so specific to learning matchups, to learning little intricacies. Like, the best example, you'd be like, well, this character has a completely safe hit string where he hits mid 4 times in a row. And unless you interrupt perfectly with a frame-timed jab, they can immediately just do it again and again, and literally that's the whole round. So I need to sit there and practice the perfect timing for a 1-frame jab to interrupt. And if I can't get the jab, I lose. Yeah, that's Tekken 8. I mean, that's been Tekken for a long time, actually. It's like this when you get to that level, you need to know the little nuance of how to stop certain abusable tactics. And not everyone has that time or desire. And quite frankly, no, I didn't feel like that was going to be worth my time, especially because as I was playing Tekken 8, after about a month of it, people were asking, where's Street Fighter? And I kept saying, well, I can't play 2 competitive fighting games at the same time. I'm not just an FGC guy. I do variety. If I play more than 1 fighting game at a time, you're talking 2-3 streams of each a week. That's more than half my streaming schedule. Now, how do I ever play other games, right? So I had to only play 1 fighting game, and for me, it was Tekken at the time. But then people were complaining, where's Street Fighter? So that was kind of the catch-22, was I couldn't play one and then the other, and people were then craving Fighter 6 again. So I played it for about a month and a half. I loved it. I had to drop it. What else could I do, right? So then we got into some of the other games of the year. You know, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which I liked. The audience didn't. Or Dragon's Dogma 2, which I was skeptical about playing, but then everyone said I should play, so I did, and then no one liked it. You know? And that was kind of par for the course of last year. If there was an action-based game, people usually liked it. And if it was anything else, slow-paced, RPG-esque, everyone hated it. It was the year of RPG overload. And I'm sorry. I feel like if it was a different year and these RPGs had been spaced out, like if you actually look on paper at all these games, right? Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Persona 3, whatever it was, Reload or whatever the hell it was called. I don't even know what it was called. You know, Dragon's Dogma 2. All of them kind of make sense on paper. But when you have them all releasing within a 3-month window, how on earth is anyone to enjoy them when they're such insanely long, attention-demanding experiences? Each one of the games I just mentioned, at a minimum, takes 60 hours to beat. Some of them take 80 to 100 hours to beat. That's a lot of time investment. How do you juggle more than one of those at once? The answer is you don't. You literally don't. So all these games being out during this time frame, so close, literally killed the market. Again, I explained this to everyone in January of last year. I said, this is going to happen. And everyone said, oh, no, that won't happen. Guess what happened? Literally, the market bottom fell out for RPGs. A game like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which everyone thought was going to be a smash hit, undersold and underperformed. What a shocker. You can't just nonstop release the same type of game 40 times in 3 months and expect that they're all going to sell. I said the same thing. I said, it's not the genre specifically, it's that there's too much of the same genre. It seems like everyone wants to release an RPG now. I don't know why, but compare that to say, imagine if Street Fighter 6, Mortal Kombat 1, and Tekken 8 all released within a 2-month window. They would have cannibalized each other. There's just not enough time and demand and money to go around in the market to support 3 AAA fighting games within 2 months. They would have all suffered in sales because of it. And that's what's happened with RPG overload in 2024. Okay. And that was the first, arguably, 4 months of the year, was just this crazy RPG overload. So then what happened? I said, guys, I have to stop playing RPGs. I just have to cold turkey cut them out. And a lot of people had issue with that. You're not going to play Final Fantasy VII. You're not going to play Dragon's Dogma. You're completely skipping this RPG and this RPG and this RPG. Yes, I can't just sit here and play RPGs all day. I would love to. I grew up playing RPGs. They're in my blood. Games like the Final Fantasy series, Chrono Trigger, Suikoden, Earthbound, classics, amazing games. Love them to death. But they just don't work that well as lengthy streaming games. Get it? I kid stream maybe 1 every few months, but you can't stream 2 at once, 3 at once. That's insanity. And I'm sorry, I can't just sit here and play the same kind of game either. Like, let's say, for example, when Final Fantasy VII Rebirth came out, I played it for 2 weeks straight, and that's all I played. So I might have almost beaten it within 2 weeks, and I would have had less than 100 viewers, no support, and I would have went out of business. That's just the nature of the beast. I know what works because I've been around for 16 years. You need variety. You can't just be doing the same game nonstop. People get burnt out. Okay, so that's it. And it's hilarious because every time that I say these very factual arguments, people say to me, well, that's not for you, Phil, because aren't you aware that Maximilian Dude was able to stream Final Fantasy VII? Maximilian Dude, the guy, million subs, insane amount of views, overhyped guy who literally could take a shit on stream and would make $100,000. Yeah, Maximilian Dude. That's not to scale, you buffoon. That's like, that's like saying a pseudo celebrity can play whatever game they want and make money. No shit. Because people aren't there for the game. They're there for the celebrity appearance. I'm not a celebrity. I don't know how many of you know this yet. I'm not a celebrity. When you compare me to these people, you're insane. All right? You're literally nuts. I will never be the level of Asmongold. I will never be the level of these people who you try to compare me to. I won't. All right? So you could stop with the bullshit. I have to do what works for me. I have to be a variety creator. All right? If I put all my eggs in one basket, I will not be successful. I have to spread myself across a variety so I can interest a different group of people that will come by to watch and support when I'm playing the kind of game that they like. But it can't be the same kind of game all the time. So there you go. So anyway, yeah, so what happened was I stopped playing RPGs. And what happened is when I stopped playing RPGs, guess what happened? My views jumped. My support jumped. I started playing a good variety of games. I did a second run of Elden Ring to prepare for the Shadow of the Erdtree playthrough. I played a game like Another Crab's Treasure, a unique take on the whole Soulsborne formula, and it worked really well. The more variety I played, the more it worked. And this just led into a spring and summer where I tackled more variety. I went back to games like Street Fighter 6 that I had kind of ignored for a long time, and things picked up. They did. I started doing more variety. For example, how can I say? Stardew Valley. Did I ever think Stardew Valley was going to work? No, but it did. Having a nice chill stream that we all relaxed into this sim game, social aspect, but you guys interacting with me and helping me to figure out what to do in it. Dude, Stardew Valley worked really well, and I really liked the game, and I'm actually looking forward to finally going back to it. Fallout had its TV series release, and when it did, it became a smash hit. So I played a Fallout 4 playthrough that at first did incredibly well, and then the hype for Fallout 4 died, and so did the playthrough, right? So I would argue the first 6 to 7 months of 2024 was definitely highs and lows. A really slow start with RPG Overload and Baldur's Gate 3, but then kind of recovering and coming back up. And then, of course, Kino Casino happened, right? Now, I want to give you guys a little bit of background because I've never told the full story. Are you ready for this? I'm going to tell you an exclusive story that no one knows. Ready? You guys had been coming by and talking to me about Kino Casino for a few months. Notably, Kino Casino started covering Review Tech USA. Everyone knows the obsession that Review Tech USA has with me, that he talks about me constantly, even to now. He literally did a Christmas Eve stream all about me. Totally not obsessive, right? So, Kino Casino had been basically talking about Review Tech in a very negative way. And people had asked me, well, have you ever watched their show? Have you heard about what they're saying about Review Tech? They seem to be the only people covering Review Tech in a negative light, while you have been harassed by this guy for years, been trying to talk about him and expose him, and no one cares what you say because, you're a meme, you're a lol cow, right? And I was like, no, I don't know who Kino Casino is. I've never really heard of them. So after a few people kept coming by and mentioning them in my chat, I said, you know what? Just on a whim, this was like in July. I said, I'm going to check these guys out and see what they're all about. I'm curious because I never venture outside of my comfort zone, ever. I want to see what it is that people are talking about. So I went over to Kick one night and I checked out one of their archived streams. And I started seeing them talk about Rich, and I was like, wow, they are destroying this guy, and they're exposing him for things I don't even know about. Because again, I don't pay attention to these guys. These people obsess about me. It's not the other way around. So who even knew that any of this stuff was going on, right? And then, of course, I watched them make fun of me. I watched them actually have clips about me. They said things about me. They said things about my wife, right? They said all these things. And I'm like, man, so they seem to be pretty rough to everyone, right? And the funny part about it is, someone like that, I get it. I totally get what they're doing. I do. And it's entertaining, too. Like, I was watching it, and I was laughing at the show, even when they were making fun of me. And I was like, it's rough to hear people roast you. It is. It's still entertainment. It's actually enjoyable. So I got it. And I was like, you know what? Here's some guys who they've just started to talk about me. Okay? They're just dipping their toe into the bullshit detractor sphere that's around darksydephil. I'm going to reach out to them. So I did. I actually at first DM'd them on Twitter. And I said, hey, are you guys the hosts of the Kino Casino show? I want to make sure that these are the right people I'm talking to. And it took a few days, but then actually they responded back. I think it was Ashton who actually responded back first. And he was like, yeah, this is really Ashton from the show. What's going on? You know, I'm surprised to hear from you. And we had a conversation back and forth a little. And basically the conversation was like, listen, I've seen your show. I've heard that you guys are making fun of me, but you're also like slamming review tech and all of this. And, just so you know, I'd be open to a conversation to talk about this kind of stuff, or whatever. And basically we kind of behind the scenes started having a convo that led to us have a shocking out of nowhere appearance on Kino Casino in early August. Now, you guys remember what happened. Everyone told me not to do it. Right here on this very show, I talked to you guys about it. And I was like, and you guys were like, no, don't do it. It's another side scrollers. It's another setup. You're going to get destroyed by these guys. That's all they want, right? So obviously I had that in my mind going into it, but I felt like at that point, okay, I need to do something different. I can't just sit here and do the same thing over and over. And this might be an opportunity. At the very least, even if it goes poorly, I'm sure a few people might get a laugh out of it. And maybe it would benefit some way. You know, the way I saw it, my detractors are going to do what they're going to do no matter what. And every once in a while, you got to take a shot at something. You know, it's kind of like, how can I say? In life, you're going to be treated badly by people. All right? It's just going to happen. It's inevitable. But just because you get treated badly by people, I'd like to think that you shouldn't just close yourself off and lose faith in general. Because if you do, you're going to miss out on so many positive opportunities in your life. Just because you had a bad experience once or twice or 5 times or 10 times or 50. Well, in my case, I've had a lot of bad experiences with people. Let's put it that way. Okay? But I feel like if I just say, oh, I give up, I'm never going to try. I never want to have a conversation. I never want to go on a show. I never want to do a collab. I never want to do... I'm going to end up sitting here, 70 years old, withered and gray, and only having done the same kind of content and never done anything different. And I might maybe be happy with that, but at the same time, it's a shame. I feel like it's squandered opportunity and squandered potential because I feel like I can do more than that. You know what I mean? I can do more than just be the guy that just does one thing. And for me, I wanted to take that chance. I don't know what it was. I just had a good feeling about it. I did. I legit had a good feeling that if I keep trying, something good would finally come of it. And the rest is history. I appeared on the show. It was a highly entertaining appearance. Everyone seemed to like me being a straight man to their chaos of the lolcow sphere that they cover. I immediately did another fast appearance within a couple of weeks where we had Josh Moon there. And I was talking with Josh Moon, the maker or the owner and operator of Kiwi Farms, about my thoughts about his site. And it was a fascinating interaction and interview for sure. Right. And that led into the door opening for me having someone like Keemstar as my first guest on this show, having the big explosive interview with Stuttering Craig. And we all know how that went. And, other things as well. And me, doing multiple collabs with Kino Casino, right? I ended up not doing just that, but we did gameplay of, what was it called? Chained Together. And then later on, we did some Zombies gameplay on Halloween, which was really good. I actually really like the Zombies co-op that we did. I think that that's a great game. And I'd like to maybe get back into it someday. I just don't know how or when because I don't seem to have time to do anything. So many, many awesome collabs between those guys. And that just really gave me an opportunity to be seen in a different light by people on the internet. So basically now there's 3 schools of people on the internet. One school of people are my detractors who will never be swayed. They'll always hate me. They'll always obsess over me. And they're always going to benefit by saying negative things about me. So that's literally never going to change. But now what's happened is we have 2 other categories. People who are neutral and are actually truly neutral. Looking at me now and be like, all those years that people hated on Phil, it doesn't really make sense. I mean, there's even now a 4-hour documentary on him, which we've all seen, and there's nothing really that bad in it. It's just a normal dude, kind of boring, honestly. A lot of people have said that, if ultimately the public opinion has shifted from Phil is the absolute most heinous lying lolcow ever to, he's just a normal guy who's kind of boring. I'll take the normal guy who's kind of boring. I'm okay with that. In fact, that's what I've been saying for years. If people would just see me fairly and stop throwing me in with this category of insanely chaotic, horrible lolcow people, and instead just say he's a normal dude, leave him alone, I'm happy with that, because that allows me to have positive viewership, have a community of people who love what I do and are able to come by and just have that normal kind of positive social interaction. When literally most of the internet is crapping on you, you can't have that. You understand? But now public opinion has shifted to a more neutral stance. And that's all I ever wanted. Okay? If anything, because we had the Kino Casino arc, right, leading into me reacting to my own documentary by June the King, it changed everything. It really did. And you might say, well, I don't get it, because, Phil, you had very short-lived gains. You had more views and more support and all of that for like 2-3 months, and now things are kind of back to normal. But are they? Views are back to normal. I'll admit that. But you might have noticed the negative element isn't here anymore. Is that? You notice that we can all kind of hang out and talk and chill, and there's no real overhanging negative element anymore. There aren't people trying to flood the chat with trolling, and there's not people dumping on each other constantly. All that stuff is shifted to their own levels. Like, they're all doing that now on their own restreams and shit, and I don't care about those people. They don't matter. They're literally farts in the fucking wind. They just, and then they're gone. Doesn't matter what they say and do. Instead, now my community is able to enjoy each other's company without that level of intervention, harassment, whatever you want to call it, that used to always be prevalent. That's a good thing. In addition, I have gotten increased support. Even though you might say, well, I don't get it, your views are back to normal. Yes, but now people actually are being fair to me. Understand? So now, look at what I have. An amazing studio setup. The ability to play any game I want at any moment. I'm not so financially restricted that I can't even play new games unless I raise a certain amount. We're not there. We're hitting goals. We're crushing it every day. It's not even like, oh, every once in a while. Every day we're crushing it. That is a huge turnaround, okay? I don't need to be Mr. Popular. I just need to be able to live. And now I can. That's how this whole thing came about. By Kino Casino giving me a chance to show that I'm just a normal guy, that I'm personable, that I'm rational, that I'm not some crazy freak out to scam you every moment, which is what these idiots have said for 10 years and is not true. Now I can just be a normal content creator. It's all I ever wanted, and I feel like I do deserve the amount of effort and dedication and determination and work that I put into this. I feel like I should at least be able to be treated like a normal human, and I'm glad that now that's happening. So, thank you for that. And as you can see, these last few months have been wildly successful. Whether it's getting into PC gaming the first time in over 10 years and now being able to play any PC game I want on keyboard and mouse on a high-end setup with massively increased streaming and on-demand video quality of 1440p and full 60 frames per second, co-streaming on 2 different services, which is amazing when you really think about it. Co-streaming between YouTube and Kick and getting support on both sites, getting traction in other places rather than just my usual space, right? That's amazing. Branching out, doing different kinds of content, reviving DSP Tries It, trying some political content. Now take a look at 2025, me now attempting pro wrestling commentary again for the first time in a decade, right? In my opinion, all right, things are looking very, very up. The only thing is, my level of positivity and success is not the mainstream belief system, okay? Sadly, out there are people who think to be successful, you need to be a million sub YouTube. You need to be bringing in thousands of viewers to stream. You need to be making insane amounts of bank. I don't believe any of those 3 things, all right? I feel like to be successful, you need to love what you do. You need to have an audience that loves to see you love what you do. And then you need to find a way to make it profitable. And that's it. All right. I love live streaming. I love interacting with all of you. And I love the fact that now we have flexibility to do whatever we want. On a day, we could just sit here and talk, or we can play a game, and it could be a game from any direction, PC, console, whatever. No limitations, right? Talk about politics. We could talk about other topics. We could do pro wrestling again. We could go in any direction we want. We have that flexibility. And you're here for the ride, and you know that now there's a positive community focused around it, that we can now support each other. We can have great social experiences. It's okay to like DSP again. It's not, oh, now you're an idiot because you like DSP. The only people saying that are my idiotic, very obsessed detractors that no one cares about. The funny part is they have become the lol cows and they don't realize it. Thousands of idiots cannot look in the mirror and understand they are now object of ridicule because they are the obsessive losers here. I am not the heinous villain they made me out to be for a decade, and no one believes that anymore who has a rational mind. So we are free to now enjoy each other's company and enjoy new kinds of content, different kinds of fun, and not have to worry about any of their bullshit. How long has it been since I've directly addressed any of them about anything they've said about me? I don't need to. Literally, it's fluff. It's garbage. It's hey, another thing to say negative about Phil to try to make a buck today. Go ahead and make your buck. You're irrelevant. And the moment that I turn the camera off, you die. Get it? You just die on the vine. Done. Nothing else to sustenance. So there you go. I'm happy with how this last year went. Seriously, I had a great time. Really, a really great time. And I hope that you guys have enjoyed it as well. What a year. We started off slow. We started off pretty negative in the gaming industry with how things were going. And then what a turnaround in the second half where now it doesn't matter if games are bad or not. We have more than enough to do. Like, admittedly, let's be honest. Right now, there's not a lot going on in gaming. But I'm super busy. I've got 2 major playthroughs, a bunch of multiplayer games, chill indie games, chill, relaxing late-night streams. We've got new content coming up, year-end series, all kinds of stuff going on. I'm a busy dude. I don't need to have a bunch of big AAA games to support me and have my content be successful anymore. I can just do whatever I want. I love that freedom. I love that creative control. I really do. So thank you so very much for that. I really do appreciate that. And I thank you all for what I would argue is probably one of the most determined, dedicated, loyal fan bases I've ever seen on the internet. You guys who are still here, you stuck through it, man. You really did. And finally, like I said a few months ago, we have come out the other end of that tunnel. Have. Absolutely we have. There's no reason to worry about the future. We're in a good position. As long as you guys keep coming by to hang out with me every day and we have fun together and you support that fun, we're good. Doesn't matter where the game industry goes. Doesn't matter. None of this matters. We're good. You can have a great time every day. Enjoy each other's company. And that's all I care about in 2025, man. Now, not to say that, oh, that means that you sit back and, you know, now everything's just roses and unicorns and rainbows. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be things that are going to be, you know, hurdles to jump over and more mountains to climb. I'm sure there will be more adversity to face. Life is like that. Whenever you feel good, all of a sudden, adversity comes and smacks you right in the face. And it's all about tackling each thing as it comes and continuing forward positively. All right? I am very excited for the future. This year, all the stuff that is to come, and I hope that you are too. I want to thank you all so much for 2024. It was a great year, in my opinion. I had a great time with it, and I'm very much looking forward to new stuff in the new year. All right. Cool. I received a $2 tip. Excited for frequency tonight. Let's find the dang killer. Yeah. So now let's briefly cover the schedule, which is going to lead us to our next topic, which is actually that tomorrow I want to play mods in Dark Souls. But honestly, I don't know if we're going to be able to do it. We haven't talked about it enough to really set it up yet. So maybe we can't do it tomorrow. Maybe we got to like postpone it till like Friday. Because the whole idea was that we were going to talk about it, and now we have like 20 minutes left. Eska, how are you? 37-month member says, Happy New Year, Phil. Here's to a prosperous year and you as well. Thank you so much, Eska. Speaking of which, Let's get some support. Guys, we're $9 of support after an hour and 15 minutes of the podcast. Let's get some support going. Let's get some super chats. Let's get some subs. Let's get some memberships. Let's get some tips. Let's get some stuff up on these question marks off the freaking leaderboard. Let's get it going. All right? Let's do it. All right.
I got the drip going. 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 I got the drip going.
It's like a faucet that's dripping. You can't make it stop. So what do you want me to do? Have a mute button that every second I'm tapping the mute button just in case I'm gonna have to clear? Like, this is what I mean, these dumb kids. This is what it is. It's dumb kids.